This is the realest show out.
You did the opposite of what I think most people do. Sometimes it can be kind of scary to just put yourself out there.
That's real. That's raw. That's exactly what we're looking for. We look forward to connecting with you guys on all of our social media platforms. The way to support us is to like and comment on all your favorite episodes. And please don't forget to subscribe and turn on your notifications for the next Gut Check Uncut. What's up, everybody? Todd Special, your co-host, Gut Check. I got B Bisk in the house.
The Bisky.
Is it the Bisky or the Bisky?
The Bisky is my 7th grade email address. The Bisky is my new and improved.
And it's still there.
All handle.
You still use the same one, by the way. If you guys want to find him, it's at dubisky@gmail.com. Or was it at AOL?
It's Yahoo.
Yeah.
It's actually longball16 at Hotmail. That's a real.
Long balls. Yeah. At my age, that's a whole different meaning. Okay. So anyways, our next guest is a powerhouse. His name is David Dodge. Okay. This guy is a stud. Just to go over a little bit about who he is, he's a real estate investor and coach. He's flipped over 600 houses and has over 50 different rental properties. He owns a company called House Sold Easy. He's the author of 3 books, The Ultimate Guide to Wholesaling, The Burr Method, and the 3 Pillars of Wholesaling. He also runs a podcast about real estate investing. He was also born in St. Louis, Missouri.
Oh, Missouri.
I mean, I lived in Missouri for a little while. I called it misery. Let's see what he calls it. First investment experience was only at 20 years of age. And for the last 5 to 6 years, he has massively scaled and done over 500 transactions within that time frame. That's amazing.
Some people don't do that in a
let's
lifetime.
welcome Mr. David Dodge.
Insane.
So what's up, David? Good to have you on the show, man.
What's
David
up, brother?
Dodge here, everybody. Finally in and ready to rock and roll. But listen, David, you've done so much. So the real question for us is, how did you get into real estate at such a young age? I mean, we know that you flipped your first house at 20 years of age, and that's an extraordinary thing in itself. But there had to be obviously some hiccups on the road.
Oh, man, there always is hiccups, and I'm still failing all the time. And that's my secret, that's my superpower, right? You ever been to like a mastermind and you get asked that question? You're like, that's a stupid question. And you start thinking about it. You're like, what is my actual superpower? And my superpower is getting back up, man. Mm-hmm. I fail more than I succeed, right? Not necessarily today, but I have in my life, right? Like that's kind of the equation. You guys want to know the equation to success? It's failure plus failure, and there's 100 of those, and then it equals success. You get one of them works, right? So flipping houses and this whole real estate investing, flipping houses wasn't even a thing I did until 5 years ago. And I've been investing for 17. I always wanted to do real estate because the people that I saw that truly had passive income as a young child or young adult were real estate investors. Nowadays, there's also people that can earn it through, social media marketing and online sales of their websites or Amazon reselling or whatever, right? But the old school true way to get rich and like be wealthy was always through real estate. So I started buying houses at the age of 20, like you guys mentioned, just with one goal in mind: park my money there and forget about it. Because you guys want a gut check, I am terrible at saving money. Terrible. I never was good at it. I'm still not that good at it. But what I am addicted to doing is investing. So now when I get money and I'm addicted to spending it, instead of going out and buying some stupid watch or a car or whatever, I'm looking for the investment that I can park it in. Because once I park it, I can't spend it. Right?
Yeah.
And then the investment is always a rental property. Right? It's a house or it's a multifamily building. And we will essentially get it rented to where somebody else is paying the note. Right? And with that comes a little extra. It's called cash flow. You also get a lot of tax benefits by being a property owner with depreciating properties. So it's a way to create wealth. It's a way to get into a bunch of debt. Like my goal isn't to like create millions and millions and millions of dollars, right? Right now worth of wealth, because it's hard to do it fast. But instead I can go out and I can say, hey, I want to try to get into $20 million worth of debt. I think right now I'm at like 8 or 9, right? Let's go get into $20 million worth of debt. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be fun. And then what we're going to do is we're going to sit back and we're going to let somebody else pay it all off. That's how you get wealthy with real estate, right? And it's amazing. So I was terrible at it. This is the gut check. Let's go, baby. Okay. The first 10 years that I did this, I only got 10 houses. I say only, but that was 10 years worth of work. I was buying 1 or 2 a year. Or maybe I got to 12 in 10 years, but whatever. And again, I was terrible at saving. So I always was like, hey, let's get 15 or 20 grand or maybe a little more. And then let's go get a loan and let's just put it there. Because then I would fulfill my need, of needing to spend. Yeah. I did it, but I parked it. It wasn't wasted. But the first 10 years I did it wrong, guys. I was going to the MLS and I was using an agent. And I was finding houses that were at full retail, right? And then I bought them. Again, not a big deal. I did it. I invested it when most people wouldn't. Mm-hmm. But there wasn't really deals to be had there. I couldn't get creative. I couldn't get a house without having the savings to put down for 20%.
Were you working during that time? Like quote unquote normal job?
Yeah, that whole 10 years from college all the way till I was 30. I'm 36 today. That whole time, different jobs, businesses that failed, you name it, man. I bought a restaurant in Illinois, 2 states away. Was working that. Web development companies. I was traveling around the U.S. doing promotional gigs for this other company. Worked at Centos for a year doing sales. I had all types of different things.
Gotcha, cool.
Several other businesses. Like I was selling stuff on Amazon. You name it. I've always been a hustler, like trying to just make stuff happen. You got a lot of irons in the fire. One of them's going to heat up. It's always been my methodology, right?
Yeah.
Instead of having like 3 things going, I always have like 9. I have 9 real estate businesses, right? Yeah. So they all work together, right? Yeah. But I was buying these houses without any creative play. It was slow. And then 6 years ago, I learned that, man, like that's one way to do it, but that's also like a slower way. You can do it quicker. And I started marketing directly to sellers. I started reaching out with letters and postcards and cold calls and whatever, and doing ads to get people directly to deal with me versus going to the agent. Because then what I could do is I could get the house at 70 or 80% what I would have paid on the market, right? And when you get a deal on a house, people want to lend you money on it. So then all of a sudden I'm like, yeah, I'll take the money. Like I'll go buy a house that's worth 200 for, 160, and then get another 40 grand to fix it up. So borrow the 200, right? Because they're vested at that point. They're getting an interest. And if I screw up, they got a deal on a house. It's like a lot of these hard money lenders, like they want to lend you money. It's amazing. Yeah. Like more than you needed. They're like, once you get in with them. So then at this point, what we do now is we do what's called the Burr method. It's one of my books. And the Burr method is basically just a way to acquire a property with none of your own money, right? It takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes me probably 2 months. It takes somebody starting out anywhere from 6 months to a year to do one. But we have multiple going at the same time. So it's super simple. Burr, so an acronym. Buy, renovate, rent, refinance, repeat. And that's it. That's the method, right? So we buy it with somebody else's money and fix it up. Get it rented right away. Then get a bank to come in and say, hey, we, at this point, we're going to get an 80% loan because it's a refi, right? It's not like I'm a new guy trying to buy something. So as long as we can be all in at 80%, the bank pays the lender back, and I don't have to wait and save 20 or 30 grand to go park it. So I also still do that to this day because I'm terrible at saving.
Well, I kind of.
I also will go try to have 5 or 6 of these going at any time.
Right.
Yeah.
Versus one.
Yeah.
And then the great part is whenever we get cash poor, because it always happens. It happens all the time. Every couple of months, I'm like, where'd all my money go? We'll just sell a couple of the projects off and get an influx of cash to keep the lights on and pay the people. Right. So it's fun at this point. It's a business.
Yeah.
I really like real estate though because I'm able to park it. It's really that's the thing.
Yeah. I don't mean to cut you off, but you said something that was pretty amazing. Like, and let's talk. That's the real gut check. You said, look, I'm bad at saving money. Well, I would guess that 95% of America is bad at saving money. Okay. I mean, like go out and you want to buy this shit. I mean, listen, if my wife is amazing and I love her to death, but if I could fucking trade in all her purses, I could buy one of your properties cash. I mean, it's just like, it went from, you make more money to your point, right? And you go from the Calvin Klein and then you go to the, what's the fucking Coach? And then you go from Coach and then you go to Michael Kors. Then you go to Michael Kors and then you go to Louis Vuitton. You go to Louis Vuitton.
speaking from
Taniguchi.
experience.
I am definitely speaking from experience. And then you're finally up to where a bag is super expensive. And that's the truth. It gets into because you want the finer things in life.
So
to
how
your
do you
point.
win? You win by, instead of wanting the things that don't make money and that somebody else isn't paying off, you just try to change the things that you want.
That's a game changer.
Yeah.
That's it, right?
That's a game changer.
So I want something that's going to increase. I might not get to play with it or carry it around or like show off in front of my friends with it. I'm not flashy either. I don't even own watches that cost more than like $200. It's just not my thing. Like to me, that's like I could lose it. Somebody's going to cut my arm off. Like all these bad things. It's like if I own a bunch of houses, then like you guys can't see right now, but I got a Monopoly board in my office, and every rental we have is just a little like Polaroid photo, and we slap it up under the different entity, and it's fun. It's a game, right?
Yeah.
But the house is like, it's just a different thing that you want.
Yeah,
So,
no, it's cool.
It's hard to tell a woman that she can't have a purse, though. Bro. It's like they like live for that.
God knows everybody was asking me who the best closer in the house is because I'm known for being a sales closer, and I say it's my 6-year-old first, then my wife. You know what I mean? Like, they're the best closers ever.
But why? It's because they use emotion.
Amen, brother.
Yeah.
Amen.
And
That's why.
persistence like a
so that'll always
motherfucker.
win.
But that being said,
Yeah.
though, to your point, and this is where I was going off that, is that I think that really resonates with a lot of America, right? Like you look at it really anywhere, but you really think about money and savings. Yeah, some people like the flashy stuff. It's hard to say no to your kids and your wife, etc. That being said, the way you're building a passive income is that you have this influx of money. You have other people paying off your properties because the future wealth, right, and the cash flow and then the passive income that you're going to be receiving from this is going to inherently make you extremely wealthy long term to where you're not sacrificing now. You know what I mean? All that money towards purses, but you're putting that money in a place where it's going to give you massive wealth. So I think that's a really good lesson for a lot of people.
Yeah,
to
which
learn.
is wild because I don't even really care to have like a bunch of nice stuff. Like I have a great home and I drive a very nice car, right? But it's not like flashy over the top, right? So it's really like I'm going to build it all up and then I'm going to probably just give it away. But it's the journey, It's just fun, like building things.
So you've talked about wholesaling, you've talked about flipping, talked about rentals. And obviously, those are all very, very different things. They kind of combine to one another. Is there kind of a strategy
great question,
you have
man. So
with, portfolio-wise? When do you decide to flip versus rent versus wholesale?
Yeah, that's a
versus whatever?
great question, man. So here's the deal. My passion is landlording. That's what I started with for 10 years, right? Before I started being like a full-time investor. It was just like a thing I just creatively do. When I started full-time, my goal didn't change. It was always to be the landlord. But what I realized is to find deals, you have to get good at marketing. And when you get good at marketing, you may come across a really motivated seller that's outside of your buy box.
Yeah.
My buy box would be like, I want this type of home, right? And I get a deal that's like over here, but it's like, man, this is like 50 cents on the dollar. Like, I know a guy over here probably paid me 10 grand for it. Like, I'm not going to not do that, right? So the wholesaling was kind of one of these things where it was like, let's do the marketing and we're going to keep the best. If they fit the buybacks, we're going to keep them. But if they don't, we're going to wholesale them. Like keep the best, wholesale the rest. It's so simple. Like you've already paid for the lead and the time and the marketing. At this point, you just make a couple more phone calls to the people that want it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've done like 650 or 700 wholesales. So there was like basically 700 opportunities that we could have bought something, but it didn't fit the buy box.
Yeah. Do you do mostly single family?
Not necessarily. Got a 23 unit under contract right now. I flipped a 10 unit last year. I own a couple 4 families. So I mean, I'm not huge in it by any means. It's even so. It's just another level.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I wanted to get to 150 houses before I started messing with 12 and 20 and 40 unit buildings. And I got up to 87 this time last year. Had to buy some people out and I wanted to pay off a bunch of bad debt that I had, like 900 grand worth of bad debt. So I just took my portfolio from 87 to like 40 and cleaned house. Books look amazing now. And in the last 5-6 months, we've got it closer to 60 at this point. So we're going to be rapidly growing. So I'd like to get to 150 and just have a nice, and it's all like very close. It's like our office is in the middle of the city and basically every property is within a 15-minute drive.
Where are you in the city?
So I'm in St. Louis, Missouri, and I'm in the middle. I'm in Brentwood, right off the highway.
Well, I actually lived in Columbia for about 8 years in Missouri.
Wow, okay, cool.
And then when we first moved from New York to Missouri, I lived in Chesterfield.
Oh yeah, you know it really well then, man.
Yeah.
I'm at 170 and 40 right in Brentwood.
Nice. Okay.
Right near Clayton. And then when I started out actually at like that young age of 20, I wasn't even flipping houses at that point. I was doing what I was telling you guys earlier. I would buy something and then I'd rent the rest of the rooms out. It's called house hacking. So like my very first real estate investments were house hacks that anybody can do. Here's how you do it. You go and you get approved to buy a property, right? You get a loan, you move into it. And then you rent the other rooms out. And depending on how many rooms are in that house, you could get the whole house paid for. So if you're a college kid, and I know a lot of parents of college kids will do this for them or for themselves even. But, the rest of the people will pay the mortgage.
Yep.
And then after you live there a year or two, then you go buy another one. And now you rent all 3 rooms or all 4 rooms or all 5 rooms and you make money after the mortgage is paid.
Well, that's
a lot of management. You got to upkeep it.
Yeah.
But it leverages you. It allows you to control an asset that's, let's say, worth 100,000 when you only have 20 grand in it.
My buddy Justin did it. He did what you just said. That's such great advice. He was in college. His parents were very, very smart, and they said, "Hey, listen, you guys are going to save money." They made their kids in junior and senior year save money to help apply money towards a down payment of a home. They bought a 5-bedroom house over in UCF in Orlando, and they rented these rooms out. And I'm telling you, the kids would pay way more money to stay there.
They would pay way more.
Than they would normally get. And they paid the fucking house off in 8 years. They split the money, and these kids went out and bought their dream homes, and they invested in other shit like it's house hacking. I didn't know that's what it's called. That's an amazing piece of advice for people.
So I just sold one or two of the first ones I had ever bought like 16, 17 years ago last year.
That's so cool.
And it's amazing. So I still have property in Columbia too.
Nice.
That's cool.
So David, let me pose something to you. I'm Grant Cardone. And I'm like, David, you've done 600 flips. You got 90 rental properties, and then most of them are single families. What the fuck are you doing? Why don't you trade them all in for an apartment complex? Because that's the only thing that works. What do you say to that?
He's not wrong. It's less. But like the single family model that we have, we just have done it really well, and the processes and the systems are in place. So, and the single families typically are much more liquid. And you can get way more creative with them, right? Like I can buy a single family and I can lease purchase it or lease option it to somebody. I could sell it and then just carry the note, right? So you have a lot of ability to liquidate with single family. So there's pros and cons to both sides.
Sure. Yeah.
And really, there's not like one that's better than the other. Yeah. It just depends on what your goals are. Well, so I just really wanted to have a large portfolio of single family homes before I started doing that. And when I do that, I may go crazy with that too. Who knows?
Yeah.
But I know this. I do know this. You got to eat and you got to have a place to sleep. The mosquitoes alone will kill you in St. Louis. You'll be
Hell
dead.
Yeah, they'll kill you in Florida too. I'll tell you
that.
So
houses will always have a value. It's just making sure they don't fall down.
Dude, it's crazy that you say that. Listen, Grant Cardone, people
Snakes,
don't, a lot of
spiders,
people don't know
you
this.
cannot not have a house,
dude.
Right? Everybody has to have that.
And people don't know this, but you talked about earlier about how real estate is, like it's there, it's passive income. The old days it's going to be every day, and it's going to be from when we're long gone, our kids are long gone. Real estate is going to be the way to go. A lot of people don't know this. Since you mentioned Grant Cardone, I was actually going to say this before you said that, but Grant Cardone started selling his sales programs, right? And everything that he started selling prior to opening up Cardone Capital. We're going to have Brandon Dawson's going to be on our show. He's the president of Cardone Capital, right? People didn't know that Grant had a vision. His vision was, let me sell a bunch of sales platform programs. Let me go and do consulting for companies and take all that money and put it into Cardone Capital real estate. And that's what he did. He lived on 20% of the influx of cash, took the other 80% and put into money.
Oh yeah. I was telling you earlier, like I wanted to get like 20 million in debt. That dude's like 2.2, like probably 2 billion in debt. Yeah,
absolutely.
And it's the same model.
Yep.
He's just using leverage to his. So guys, think of it this way for a second. Side topic.
Yeah.
How is it possible that somebody in their lifetime can acquire $1 billion? Let's just break this down for a second. I'm gonna give you guys a gut check.
Ready. Let's do it.
All right. It's 1,000 millions. So you got a buddy who's making millions. Maybe you guys are making millions. I'm not there yet. I got net worth in the millions, but I don't make millions of dollars, right? Millions. You're talking maybe a guy that that's got 100 million. But let's talk about somebody that has 1,000 millions. That is so much. So it's like it's almost impossible for it to happen until you bring in publicly traded companies and stock markets and what's called the float. And the float is the amount of shares that are actually tradable. So let's say you have a company, and most companies have hundreds of thousands, if not millions of shares. Let's just say you have a company. You start one right now, boom. And, it's only 1,000 shares. And you and I own 950 shares of the 1,000. And we're like, we're never selling these fucking shares. We'll let this company go. And there's 50 shares. That's it. That's all that's available. And those shares that get high in demand and they get bought up. When that company goes from 50 a share to 100 a share, the whole company didn't get bought. Just that little piece went up, right? And that, my friends, is how you create billions of dollars. And Grant Cardone, I love him. Uncle G, huge inspiration, is using the method of leverage and the available float and all that to create billions. It's amazing. I love that.
No, it is, man. And I've seen it happen.
Tell me somebody that made 1,000 millions without multiple layers of leverage or the available float by taking a company public.
No, you're right. Yeah. We had a meeting with a billionaire. Like,
I don't know. That's so many millions.
Dude, we had a meeting with a billionaire, and I remember him sitting down and telling me, and he said, dude, to make $1 million these days, it's easy. When the old days, it wasn't easy. To become a millionaire, he's like, it's actually pretty easy. He goes, but to become a fucking billionaire?
On paper, too. He's like, I could do that in like a couple weeks.
100%. He's like, dude, you don't have he goes, literally to become a billionaire, this is what you have to do. He said the same thing, and again, not to keep going back to Grant, but, I saw it in front of my own eyes, right, with Grant, okay? And one of my mentors, Danelle Delgado, who is really, really close, I know them, right?
Uncle G's the man.
Dude,
I love him.
And it's funny because I sat there, we had a conversation with Jared Glant a little while back, and Jared's cool dude too, but like getting them and watching that company scale to go from a sales training platform into Cardone Capital has been extraordinary, but it was a vision. He did the same thing, right? So, I mean, I would venture to say that with all of our lifetimes, real estate is going to be probably the most I would say consistent thing to help build wealth at a massive level over anything. Yeah, that would be
it's one of the slowest ways.
But it's also one of the most sure ways, even though it's slow.
But you can get creative though, and you can buy properties at discounts, and you can flip them without even having to truly buy them. We do this all the time. That's what wholesaling is. Mm-hmm. So wholesaling, wholesaling is a game of control with paperwork. It's not even about real estate. I can wholesale a 40-yard container of fireworks from China to a firework company. Mm-hmm. Boom, no different. Walmart is the king of wholesaling. In fact, they don't even pay for the product. Mm-hmm. They say, we'll let you place it here on the shelf. And once we sell it, we're going to take our money. And then like 90 days later, we'll finally pay you for it.
Yeah.
But if we don't sell anything, we don't owe you shit. Like that's wholesaling. Yeah. It's paperwork, guys. Yeah. Products are the ancillary thing that's happening, but it's paperwork. So yeah, that's the cool thing about real estate too, is not only does it create long-term wealth for you, but you can actually use it as a tool to like make a good amount of income or profit for your business if you're doing enough lead marketing. Yeah, that's the thing.
So with your wholesaling, really quick, I mean, because the thing is, my sister-in-law is a wholesaler in Los Angeles, incredibly competitive market. So I know enough about it to be able to have a conversation. That's about it. But I do know that it is a very quote unquote cheap way to get into real estate investing to a degree. But where I'm going with this is, there is a ton. Everyone thinks they're a wholesaler all of a sudden. There's a ton of people buying direct mail to send to motivated sellers. And then you've got some bigger guys like you and Chris Root and guys like this that really know what you're doing. And now the market, I don't know exactly how it is in St. Louis, but I can tell you in Orlando and Central Florida and a lot of the part of Florida, the market is insanely high right now. So how are you still getting with motivated sellers when everyone thinks their house is worth $1 billion? You know what I mean?
Man, that's a good question.
That's a damn good question.
I'm not a dabbler, so I don't care. I'm in it, right?
Yeah.
But you're right. A lot of people it's getting competitive. A lot of people are getting in. They are buying mail. But the problem with a lot of people is they don't have the confidence to do anything. They get in the way. They totally. I partner with a ton of people, and a lot of people will come into my coaching program too, because they're ready to like start doing deals and not just spend a bunch of money. And most of it comes down to confidence. It really does. Now, the other point though that you made about the market, it's absolutely hot. Absolutely. And that makes it difficult when inventory is low. I mean, that's where we're at right now. So anybody that owns a property knows that they have a property and properties are in demand. That's not a secret, right? What we do at this point to get good deals is we solve problems for people. You know, like there's not much, if any, low-hanging fruit anymore, right? So in order to really get a deal and do a good thing, you have to find somebody that has a problem and let them know that you're an investor and that this is a business and that you don't pay retail. In fact, that's what I tell everybody I talk to, right? Let me repeat that. I'm an investor. This is a business and I don't pay retail. But if you give me a deal where I can go make some money, I will make your life so incredibly easy. What's the problem? Repairs? No problem. Stinks because of all this stuff in it? No problem. You know, you need to close quick because you're moving? No problem. Right? You don't want me to have any financing contingencies so I can't screw you? I'm going to actually buy it? No problem. We make it so easy for them. We can close in 2 or 3 weeks with cash. Right? So it's a win-win scenario.
Got it.
A lot of wholesalers get the negative impression, like you're out here stealing properties from people. I tell every single person I work with, I do not need to buy your house or the other 100 that we bought already this year, 130 already this year. I don't need any of them, by the way. I tell people this, guys. Transparency is what makes you and me win versus all the other people that are thinking that they're going to get in the game, right? We tell them that we do all these deals. It's not a lie. And then what we do is we say, we can solve all these problems for you. I will even help you pack up the stuff in the truck. Oftentimes, I'll pay to rent the truck. See, that's what's called convenience, right? We make it convenient for them. Yeah. And we make it very clear that for that convenience, though, this is the thing that people take years. It took me 2 years to learn this. For that convenience, though, you got to demand a discount. You can't chase a number and then offer the convenience. You're going to go broke.
So you get a house, you find a problem, the fucking carpet stinks, if you got cats in the home, the whole 9 yards.
Love it.
You're the guy that goes in and says, I need a discount. I don't need your home.
I tell
but
them,
I'll pay. But do you pay to fix that?
Here's what I do. I say, here's how it works. I'm an investor. This is a business for me. I don't pay retail. If you were wanting full value or whatever the Zestimate says, which is usually not right, but it can be, right? Then I'm not the guy. Go hire a realtor. But if you need money next Tuesday or in a week or two and it has a bunch of repairs, I am cool with that. I don't mind. Yeah. You know, a lot of these agents or people that are going to want to be on the MLS are not going to want to even help you because they're thinking it's going to be a hard sale. You know, like we can just make it really easy. Oftentimes it's a hoarder. They don't want photos online. Yeah. They don't call an agent because they're just like, I don't want my neighbor seeing how ugly and gross I live, you know? So we're like, yeah, we will make it really easy for you, but we don't pay retail. In fact, we're typically buying houses at 50 to 60% of what they're worth. We anchor really low. Yep. And if they say, oh, you're crazy, then cool, done. I don't even make an offer yet, guys. You see how I did that?
Yeah.
I'm usually buying them 50 to 60% of what they're worth. Again, this is a business. Yep. And if they say, well, what's the number? Boom, then we'll start talking.
Yeah, that's a buying question. The two things that I love that you said because it translates across multiple industries, and it's two things that we teach and things that we talk about with sales and the companies we work with is one, you smash them in the face with brutal honesty. And
I don't need to buy it.
You solve
problems. I always
problems.
tell them that too. I think I left that out.
Honesty and you solve a problem.
Right.
Period.
That's it. It's a convenience for a discount. All wholesalers do is they offer liquidity to the market. Every other market has some sort of liquidity. Real estate's tough, like, right? If you don't have somebody that's willing to pay cash and close quick at a discount, you may be stuck with the property for a year or two.
Well, and a lot of these people
got a bunch of issues,
right? Yeah. I was just thinking that, like, these properties that you're talking about, these hoarders and shit like that, they're not. These people can't be that fucking stupid. Like, you go around your house, you're like, dude, your house is not worth fucking retail. Yeah. They got to go. My house is fucked up. I need some cash. Yeah. I'm going to fucking David Dodge because I need cash next week. But I know he's not going to pay retail. And why the fuck should he? Because my house is in terrible shape. Yeah. David comes in, buys it at 60%, whatever. Knows he's going to invest. And get all in at 80% and fucking flip it.
Yeah, you nailed it.
Dude, that's genius.
So here's why I say 50 to 60%. Because after you take the repairs out, that's typically where you lie. But like in theory, I'll tell somebody, hey, I'll pay 80% of what it's worth. And they'll look at me and be like, really? And I'm like, cash. Next week we can close. But 80% of where it's going to be worth. Mm-hmm. You know, not today. So I need to then take the repairs out to get it to be to that number. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So you can justify the low offer as being fair and low versus just low. Oh, you're crazy.
Yeah.
It's like, no, this is it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
So I lay it all on the table.
So for
man.
people
My
to understand,
favorite thing to do is
$100,000
just
home. So $100,000 home, you come in, you offer me 80 grand, and you say, I'm not going to offer you, I'm not paying you 80 grand. You got 25 fucking $1,000 worth of repair work, Todd. So it's going to be 55 grand, right? And that's kind of how you justify.
That is me paying it. Here's how I justify it. But that is me paying 80% because for it to even be worth that 100, it needs 25. So Mr. or Mrs. Seller, I'd love to pay you the 80. So go do the 25. I'll be back in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, it's either that,
Yeah.
or I will take care of that for you.
Yeah.
That's 25 grand. But I'm not going to price that into the model.
Absolutely not.
I'm paying 80% of a finished product.
Yeah.
The product ain't finished.
Love that.
So finish it. Offer stands. I'll go right to the bank, cash them out,
Yep.
add it to the portfolio. Don't even go there.
Yeah.
But that happens 1 in 500 times.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So
Otherwise, they're like, okay, then you take that out too.
And people
then
are
when you
fucking
take them both
lazy.
out, you
People are
discounted it.
lazy.
Yeah, but it ends up being like 50 to 65% of the value, depending on the amount of repairs. So that's just we
That's
lead
genius.
with that, and again, it's a way for us to basically disqualify ourselves. I
Yeah.
find that it's easier to disqualify. Oh, this might not be for me. I don't need to buy it. I just keep dropping these subtle hints.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's taking
Because at any
Take one.
time, if they're like skeptical, like I am not going to waste a bunch of time trying to pay you retail
Yeah.
because I don't need it. And I can offer all this convenience, but if you're not looking for that convenience either, again, it's a waste. So I like to just disqualify. I'm an investor. I do this for a profit. I intend to sell it at a profit
Yeah.
at some point in time, right?
Yeah.
What's the problem? I don't need to buy it. And then I let them try to basically sell it to me.
Yeah. That's
It's just a good approach because it's
Big time.
super transparent,
genius.
and
man.
it,
that's how you
Yeah,
should
it
sell
just
anything,
helps.
in my opinion. Or sell your service, or sell a
Sell me this
product, or
thing.
whatever it is,
Yeah.
right? It's anything. So I got a totally left field question because I'm interested in it. So non-real estate completely, but
Yeah, what you got?
how did you purposely scale your social? Because your Instagram is pretty fire and your content is very, very well made. Was this purposely done? Was it a byproduct of your business and your coaching? What's the story on that?
It was actually just kind of a hobby. I just wanted to see like if I could basically turn a profit on it. And I probably invested 50 to 60 grand into my social media at this point.
Damn, did you
Well,
really?
just into that one channel that you're looking at.
Yeah.
But basically what happened was it was a great tool for so many reasons. It's not about like trying to be known. In fact, I don't ever do anything live. I have a team of people that helps me. I have 2 VAs, 3 really, but mostly 2 in this topic, that will help post it and schedule it all out, right? And I use it to push people to free products and help them. So there's obviously value in my free course. But in exchange for that, we do offer coaching. So that's exposure there. And then another great tool is that in a lot of our free products, they are affiliate marketing plays for like free trials of softwares. And just because we're driving the traffic to give free products, we're also being able to capitalize on that too. So
That's awesome.
the social media game is actually really interesting. I'm loving it. We're growing it like crazy. This month, we probably bring in 18 or 20 grand in revenue just from social media, which is really cool. And that's not including even coaching. That's, just affiliate marketing. And then, we turn around and we spend anywhere from 3 to 6, 7 of it, just reinvest it. So, just like any business, it's a passive income play.
Yeah.
And at this point, like I need to be better at it, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Like my content hasn't really been that
It's
great.
good, dude. It's good, man. I'm all
It
over
could be
social.
better.
It's good.
Well,
It's
the
really
good news is that you've been on this show, and this is going to fucking definitely scale you to millions of followers.
I'm ready, guys.
Listen,
I'm ready.
Dave, we could talk to you all day long, man. I want to thank you for your time, dude. First and foremost, we like keeping things real and raw, and that's exactly what we've done during the show, dude. And to be honest with you, with our platform, we always want people that are going to give great advice. You do have a lot of amazing free content out there. I mean, you would be an absolutely genius coach for anybody trying to get in real estate. We want people to follow you. We want them to actually know exactly more about you. But you talk about the social media game. I mean, there are how many, like 974,000 David Dodges.
Oh my God, dude. When I was looking, literally, David Dodge is one hell of a name. 'cause
So
there's
if
a
you
ton of
guys
them.
want to find David Dodge, his IG is David Allen Dodge. It's Alan. So David Allen Dodge. Okay. His IG is amazing. His stories are amazing. Social media it's really on point, man. Whatever money you've invested, I got to tell you, dude, I'm sure you have high standards for yourself, but we loved it, which is what attracted us to you to get you on the show. We can't thank you enough for being on the show, man. Where can people find you outside of the social media? I know you've got your website, discountpropertyinvestors.com, but I believe that takes a login, to kind of get, is that your course?
Yeah. So guys, here's the deal. Like, go to freewholesalecourse.com.
Got it.
And you're going to learn about me. You're going to learn about real estate investing. You're going to learn about how you can do it with no money. So check this out. I wanted to say this earlier, and I'm going to just say it really quickly.
Yes, sir. Please.
You hear this all the time from people, and you might even see me or hear me say it, but I do a good job of following up. You can flip houses with little to no money, right? You see the infomercials, you see the whatever, the ads. And here's the deal. Those people aren't lying. They're absolutely 100% telling you the truth. But the real truth is that, let me do it over. You can flip houses with little to no money if you spend a lot of time getting good leads. So the leads are the hardest part of flipping houses. And typically it's going to be very, very hard if all you have is time, because that means you have to trade it. And you have to do the efforts like cold calling and door knocking and driving for dollars and networking and maybe going even and getting your license and whatever it may be, right? Just and putting yourself into it, or using money to help generate those leads. Time or money, guys, one or the other.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the full truth. So can you go flip houses with little to no money? Yeah, absolutely. But you're going to have to trade 60 to 200 hours of time to find that one person that's like, yes, I know you're in business, Dave. And then I'm going to have to give this to you at a discount. But I just really need to sell. I don't even live in the state. And I got divorced and I don't even want to go back there. And like, can you just like send the paperwork to me? And it's like, absolutely. We'll clean it out. We'll do all of it for you. Yeah. And that's the exchange.
Dude, that's powerful, man. I mean, so I'm guessing that you can also, if they go to free wholesale, what's it, freewholesalecourse.com, they can literally get involved with David Dodge and you can help them figure out how to generate those leads at probably a much time versus value cost efficient way. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, we have like 50 different ways to do it over there.
Awesome. You just reminded me of, what was the guy's name? And it may be even before your time because I'm a little older than you two guys here, right?
Love that.
But yeah, sorry, I had to say it out loud. But I'm 45 this month. July 11th is my birthday. Yes, I'm going to say that because I look extremely fucking handsome for 45. But I will tell you this. Do you remember the guy? What was his name? Carlton Sheets? Is that the guy, the first real estate?
Carlton Sheets. Dude, Carlton Sheets.
You know him because you're in real estate. You probably don't, right?
Idea.
Okay,
no.
so this guy had infomercials. We'll close it out with this, but this guy had infomercials at like 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning. He was one of the very first guys to talk about wholesale and flipping houses and shit like that. And for the small price of $39.95, you used to get a fucking booklet this big with 190 DVDs in it. Do you remember that? The
basically
CDs?
All of that is what I just told you. All of it.
And it's amazing. But I'm actually giving you a massive compliment here, Dave, because I listened to every one of those fucking that I didn't. I couldn't understand a fucking word. I listened to David, and David goes, "Dude, it's this, that, boom." That's a massive compliment to you, man. It's about keeping things simple. You're a rock star. You're a powerhouse, man, and we cannot thank you enough for being on the show, bro. Sincerely,
thanks, bro.
Dude.
Appreciate you.
You got it, guys. Thanks for having me.
All right, brother. Be good, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Later.
All right, bye-bye. Dude, David Dodge. I mean, I gotta tell you, man, the real estate tips this guy gives you, they're simple. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I loved about it. It was very, very simple. And he keeps talking about like how anybody could do it, but he's real about it. He's like, listen, you can see all the infomercials and all the bullshit you want to see online, okay? Yeah. But you got to be educated. You got to be able to put yourself in position to know what you're doing. Not anybody can do it, but don't do it unless you get the right information.
100%. I'm probably getting old by me bringing up things that, span across industries and across shows. But I just loved when I asked him kind of, what kind of sets him apart, because everyone wants to do wholesaling and it's cheap to get started and blah, blah, blah. Real estate's hot. And he basically, long story short, it boiled down to two things. One, he smashes him in the face with brutal honesty, which we talk about a lot. And he basically says, listen, I'm an investor. I'm going to buy your house. It's going to be cheaper than someone else is going to offer you. And I'm going to make money on it. And then two.
And if you're interested, great. If you're not, fuck off.
Then fuck off, yeah.
Right.
And then two, he solves a problem. Yeah. And he's not going to force problems. He looks for the problem. If there is one, he'll present that solution, gives them some honesty. And if they're interested, great. If they're not, get the fuck on it.
I'm going to go on record here real quick, and I hate saying this, but I love my fellow brethren, and that's the reason why I give people compliments. But I'm going to say this: if I had to marginalize, right, the percentages of times that you ask good questions better than me, it's probably 70-30 you. I'm going to give you that compliment.
I love that.
You've asked.
I'm not even going to come back on that.
You can't. It's an automatic close. But it's
Podcaster.
a good. But dude, the truth is, the questions that you asked were pretty powerful. And one of his responses, when you asked him a question about how hot the market is and et cetera, like that was such a good question. But I think it was so relevant to today. And I think people talk about real estate. Oh, I've heard that before. I've had that. Well, it's not. This is a fucking. It's a unbelievable seller's market right now. It's a high demand market. And asking that question is he goes, I find problems. It was so ingenious when he says, you're like, dude, how do you wholesale or how do you flip properties right now in this market when everybody's like, fuck that, my house is worth X amount of dollars, I'm getting most dollar I can. He says, you find a problem. You look at hoarders, and I'm thinking to myself all the time, I'm going to go find houses that are fucking like hoarders live in. Because the people,
there's got to be a hoarders like Facebook
I say
group.
they can't be stupid, but they obviously are if they hoard, number one. Sorry for hoarders. But
there's got to be like an AA for hoarders where they all meet up. Dude, actually, no, they won't because they don't want to leave their house.
Well, no, right? A hoarder doesn't mean they stay home forever.
Well, they're locked into their house. I watch hoarders on TV.
You're not an expert
locked in. They can't even get out of their house.
That idea was horrible.
If there's an in-person AA meeting for hoarders, though, it's a fucking gold mine.
We're gonna close it out with this. Okay, one of the best comments you got was "Keep the best, wholesale the rest." Right. So I'm gonna obviously say that we're the best podcast out there, and don't listen to anybody else. So
100%.
You know what I'm saying?
We're kind of wholesaling content.
That was the analogy.
Is that where we're going?
We're the best, right? It's good, right?
Yeah.
We're wholesaling content. How much did you guys pay for this show today? How much did they pay?
Zero.
$0? You paid $0?
Actually, if you really do
how much did we pay? Fuck. If you want a podcast that's actually gonna be anything, it's gonna cost you a fuck ton. So we'll see you guys next time on Gut Check if we have any money left.
Peace.
If you love this guest as much as we did, please follow them on all their social media platforms. The way to support us is to like and comment on all your favorite episodes. And please don't forget to subscribe and turn on your notification for the next Gut Check Uncut.